Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as 400 of your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon for all the character sheets, and like and subscribe for 400 more characters next time you play. Maybe. Alright, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what episode this actually is. I think it's 400, but it's not the 400th character since I've done a bunch of double videos. We probably had 400 characters somewhere in December, so just think of this as an episode reset. It's 400 officially, next one's 401, so now we can get started with Amaterasu from Okami, the strongest character we've ever built. Is it because she's a goddess? No. It's because she's a goddess with calligraphy.
Mighty her ink and flawless her calligraphy. Ne'er has such a feat of penmanship been witnessed in the history of mankind. And her spelling is good too.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need the 13 celestial brush techniques: Green Sprout, Veil of Mist, Water Spout, Inferno, Sunrise, Crescent, Danish, Muffin, Bear Claw, Bagel, Donut, Biscuit, and Rejuvenation. Next, we need some celestial weapons, solid backups for when we run out of ink. Finally, we gotta go fast, sprinting forward and leaving some beautiful flowers in our wake. For stats, we're gonna be using the standard point buy from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multi-classing minimums in mind. Wisdom and dexterity up at 15, you have the nose of a wolf and the backflips of a wolf. Because you're a wolf, that checks out. Strength at 13, you need to put the team on your back. Sometimes that team is not just a little bug. Constitution at 12, eventually you may take a hit or two, and that means you have to eat some bones. Intelligence and charisma go down to 8. You're a god, but it doesn't seem like you know that the other gods exist, and you tend to fall asleep when long dialogue happens. Ami is the perfect D&D character for someone who ignores RP and lore. She's a dog. This isn't me excusing a player who ignores RP and lore. This is me equating them to dogs. And there isn't a dog race in D&D. I could go Aasimar since Ami is a god, but she doesn't really deal radiant damage, have dark vision, resist necrotic or radiant damage, or fly. So custom lineage. It's episode 400. Gotta be custom lineage, right? You can grab a feat like athlete, letting you add 1 to an ability score like dexterity. You get a climbing speed to climb like a cat, and you can make a running long jump with 5 feet of run up, and standing up from prone only takes 5 feet of movement instead of half. The cat climbing is the biggest thing. Believe it or not, getting the powers of a god is a little bit complicated, and there isn't a climbing speed we can grab anywhere else in the build. Bump your wisdom with your 2 free points. Grab perception for your skill of choice, and nature and animal handling from your background. All animals love their mother, and Amaterasu is the mother of all things. We'll kick things off as a monk for 2 skills from the monk list, like acrobatics and athletics, letting you flip every time you jump and pick people up to carry them around, even when they aren't bugs. But bug dudes are still the easiest to pick up. They're bugs. You get martial arts, letting you make unarmed attacks using your dexterity modifier. They deal 1d4 bludgeoning damage, and you can make an unarmed attack as a bonus action after you make one with your action. Even when you're out of ink, you need to be able to do a headbutt or a jump kick, like a wolf would. You also get unarmored defense, making your AC 10 plus your dexterity and wisdom modifier when you're not wearing armor. Some dogs are okay wearing little outfits, but most are gonna try and fight it. Try to put plate mail on your puppy. I'm guessing it will struggle. Second level monks get unarmored movement, making you faster as long as you're not a plate mail puppy. You also get key points you can use to do cool god stuff like Step of the Wind, letting you dash or disengage with a bonus action, and double your jump distance, letting you kick things into overdrive or just to get a nice double jump. Platforming just got much easier. Patient defense lets you dodge as a bonus action, avoiding the hits and keeping your sunshine shining. Flurry of blows lets you make 2 unarmed attacks instead of 1 with your bonus action, helping you stagger your enemies and get them ready for a big calligraphy slash. But if you want to use calligraphy, we need to get the true power of the gods as a Kensei monk with Way of the Brush for calligraphy proficiency. And now, after all this time, I will explain why calligraphy is the skill of the gods. As it turns out, quite a few of your favorite fictional characters are martial artists who excel at using weapons. Sometimes those weapons become magical, even if the character isn't necessarily a caster. So Kensei monk is often the best way to do that. I've made a lot of Kensei monks. So many that even in the beginning of the channel, I had a plethora of calligraphers with no real reason for them to have the skill. To justify it, I declared it to be the skill of the gods. Just kidding, if you write someone's name down in cool letters, you can kill them, bring them back to life, or turn them into a chicken. Penmanship is the tool proficiency equivalent of the wish spell. It's a little anticlimactic after that godly power, but Kensei monks also have Kensei weapons. Some celestial weapons that can become monk weapons, and they don't have to be simple. Pick 1 martial weapon and 1 ranged weapon. With them, you can do some additional techniques. While wielding a martial martial Kensei weapon, you can make an agile parry. Using an unarmed attack as part of your action, you get to add 2 to your AC, charging up your divine shield with hitting. Kensei shot lets you add a d4 to the damage of your ranged Kensei weapon attacks as a bonus action for some more potent ink bullets. The best strategy for most boss fights though is generally deflect missiles, letting you reduce the damage of incoming ranged attacks by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier and monk level, and if you drop it to 0, you can spend a key point to send it back at the enemy. Then they'll flop on their butts and have stars all around their heads. It's really funny. And speaking of ink, now that we have calligraphy, I think it's time we get some brush techniques. We'll kick that off with a war cleric, which gives you proficiency with all martial weapons, so long as it's not a heavy or special weapon, and so long as it's not a heavy or special weapon, you can make it a monk weapon with dedicated weapon. Warhammers for the deflector, longsword for the glaive, and whips for the rosaries. As a war priest, you can make a bonus action attack with one of those weapons an amount of times per long rest equal to your wisdom modifier, letting you really spam the combos. For your cantrips, mending will let you do some rejuvenation, putting 2 pieces of something back together. Guidance and resistance give a creature a d4 to add to ability checks or saving throws respectively, just kind of making you and your friends better than everyone else. Divine favor is free from the war domain list, letting you add some divinity to those instruments, and a d4 of radiant damage to all of your weapon attacks for up to a minute depending on your concentration. That also applies to unarmed attacks, which is a little weird, but I'll take it. Shield of Faith is a more defensive tactic, adding 2 to a creature's AC for up to 10 minutes depending on your concentration. Pair that with unarmored defense and agile parry, you're looking at 20 AC at total level 4. 20 AC is good at total level 20. It's bananas at level 4. Combat in Okami can take a while, but I don't think I ever died, and I wouldn't say I was particularly good at the game. For your spells of choice, protection from evil and good could be more effective against aberrations, celestials, fiends, fae, and undead, giving those creatures disadvantage on attacks against the creature of your choice. It also makes them immune to charming, possession, or frightening from the nasty creatures, letting you leap first and look second. Speaking of second level cleric. You get to channel divinity in one of 2 ways. All clerics can turn undead, forcing a wisdom saving throw on undead creatures and making them dash away if they fail. War clerics can also make a guided strike to add 10 to 1 attack roll. These recharge on short rests, so make sure you use them, but it's not what we're here for. We're just biding time until the 3rd level. That's where we'll get 3rd level cleric spells like Spiritual Weapon. Summoning a weapon that looks like something you choose, you can move it 20 feet and make a spell attack as a bonus action that deals 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier. It's a really powerful slash, and since you can make it look like whatever you want, how about a nice thick brush stroke? Oh, it's also not a concentration spell, meaning that you can have this up and Shield of Faith or Divine Favor to really rack up the damage. Magic Weapon makes a weapon magical in terms of overcoming resistances and adds 1 to the attack and damage rolls for up to an hour depending on your concentration. It's another solid option that's free from the war list. We'll also get other ways to make your weapons magical later, but this is a solid option for now. If you just want some more HP, Aid gives up to 3 creatures 5 more HP for 8 hours, also no concentration. So it's pretty much a free level of extra health for you and some friends, like Isun, Nagi, and Susano. All of them kinda useless without you. Keep them safe, they're just horny drunks. I don't know why they're trying to help you fight demons. 4th level clerics get an ability score improvement, round up your wisdom and strength modifiers. Odd numbers don't do anything. It's something I've probably pointed out in all 400 episodes at some point. It's a Tulok classic. Now we're really starting to buckle down and get those brush techniques. Up to this point, we've been building Amaterasu from the start of Okami, like turn on the PlayStation 2, make a new save file on your memory card, and go. And she's level 7. But she's a god, so it kind of makes sense that she starts there, right? For more godly powers, Druid is the way to go. That'll give you 2 Druid cantrips like Druid Craft to do small flavor stuff, like get a read on the weather or make tiny flowers bloom. If you're just using your movement action for movement, I think using your action to pop flowers behind you is a pretty nice flex. Shape Water lets you move some water in a 5-foot cube or freeze it. Pour some booze in the water, then shoot it into the big bad evil guy's mouth to get them drunk. If my players did that, I'd allow it, pretend I hated it in the moment, and think about it later in my life when I feel down and need a pick-me-up. For your 1st level spells, Long Strider and Jump add 10 feet to a creature's movement speed or triple their jump distance. Another classic Tulok pairing. I've explained this one before, but I'll reiterate it because this is a special episode. The reason that so many characters have Long Strider and Jump is because character run good, character jump good. I'll also add that with disengagement options, being mobile lets you hit and run to get out of enemy range. Mobility options are good. Animal friendship is also good. Charming in a beast that fails a wisdom wisdom saving throw for 24 hours or until one of your allies attacks them, but Ami would never sign up with someone who would hurt an animal. Multiclassing spellcasters isn't that big of a deal. Just check page 165 of the player's handbook to figure out how many spells you have at any given level. This is also a fun occasion because this is the 165th episode that I have referenced page 165 of the player's handbook. To prove me wrong, go watch every video and keep track. Second level druids can wild shape, letting you change your shape into a beast of challenge rating 1/4 or lower as an action. You get that beast's HP until it runs out, all the physical stats like strength, dexterity, and constitution, and can stay in that shape a number of hours equal to half your druid level or until the HP runs out. Now you can be a literal wolf. There's no real reason to be, since we're just saying custom lineage is a wolf. Custom lineage could be anything. It could even be a wolf. That's what Amaterasu is. You can also choose a druid circle. The circle of the land gives you some extra spells later, and spells we need are from the Arctic Circle. I guess that's why you have a nice white coat. For now, you get another druid cantrip. Thorn Whip lets you make a melee spell attack that deals 2d6 piercing damage with a 30-foot range and pulls a creature up to 10 feet closer to you, though Ami's vines are generally less offensive. Natural Recovery lets you get some ink back faster, recovering half your druid level in spell slots when you take a short rest. Third level druids can learn second level spells. We need a bunch of them. Moonbeam brings in that crescent brush, showering a cylinder with moonlight that's 5 feet in radius and 40 feet high. It forces a constitution saving throw on creatures inside, dealing 2d10 radiant damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed. Shape changers have disadvantage on that saving throw and will revert back to their true form if they fail. Turns out that old cannibal couple, actually demons. Shocker. Flaming Sphere lets you steer that inferno, creating a 5-foot radius sphere of fire that you can move 30 feet with your bonus action. If you ram it into someone or they're within 5 feet of it, they have to make a dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 fire damage, half damage on a success. Gust of Wind makes a gale of wind that puts out fire and forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot long, 10-foot wide line of wind. Failing that, they're pushed back 15 feet, and even if they succeed, moving through the area takes double movement. Enlarge Reduce makes a creature one size larger or smaller. Normally we want to go larger, but today we want to get small. It will give you disadvantage on your attacks with weapons, not your weapon attacks in general, something I get to clarify a lot, but it also means that your unarmed attacks won't be worse. You also have disadvantage on strength checks and saves, so really only use this if you need to creep through the tiniest crack or walk on the narrowest rail. Referencing Mr. Mistopheles, something I do pretty frequently in these 400 episodes. 4th level druids get another ability score improvement. Cap off your wisdom, since that will help all your brush techniques and make your AC better. People say that monk doesn't multiclass well, but this monk cleric druid build is a caster with 22 AC after Shield of Faith and an agile parry. Seems pretty smooth to me. 5th level druids can learn some 3rd level spells, and if you thought we needed 2nd level spells, buckle up, we need more of these. Slow is free from the Arctic Druid Circle list, and it's the only way we could get a Veil of Mist. Bars. That forces a wisdom saving throw on up to 6 creatures in a 40-foot cube. Failing that, their movement speed is halved and they take a -2 penalty to their AC and dexterity saves. They can't take reactions, and they can only make 1 attack or cast 1 spell. Also, if they want to cast a spell, roll a d20. On an 11 or higher, they can't cast it until their next turn. It's a ton of different debuffs. It's really good in D&D, and it's really good in Okami. Sleet Storm creates a 40-foot radius, 20-foot high cylinder of snow that makes difficult terrain, forces dexterity saving throw on creatures inside, knocking them prone if they fail, and forces concentration saves on creatures casting spells inside. It's another giant suite of debuffs and lets you get some ice powers earlier than you do in Okami. Those are just the free spells from the Arctic Circle. You also get to choose some spells, like Water Walk, letting you and up to 10 other creatures walk on water or other liquid surfaces for up to an hour. Obviously, other people can also jump on your lily pads. Daylight lets you bring that sunshine in, creating a 60-foot radius sphere of bright light with 60 feet of dim light after that. It's the most Ami power, even if it's only useful in dark caves. Call Lightning doesn't work as well in caves, creating a 10-foot high, 60-foot radius cylinder of stormy clouds you can pull lightning down from. This forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 5-foot radius, dealing 3d10 lightning damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed. If it's already stormy, you can add another d10 of lightning damage. Obviously, your lightning works better when you can draw a line between the lightning and the person you're lightning-ing. Protection from energy gives a creature resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage for an hour depending on your concentration, in case you need to visit a queen whose throne room is blocked off by lava. How does she get food in there? Do the servants have lava resistance? Finally, plant growth makes plants grow. If you use it as an action, it makes difficult terrain that costs 4 times as much movement to move through. If you cast it for 8 hours, the plants in a half-mile radius make twice as much food for a year, really getting things in bloom, like track 2 of Nevermind. mind. 6th level land druids get land stride, so non-magical difficult terrain doesn't give you trouble anymore. And you have advantage on saves against being trapped by magical plants specifically. Spore druids get zombies at this level. Land druids don't have to worry about specifically magical plants. Power creep's kind of a thing, it's fine. 7th level druids can learn 4th level spells, and wow, we need 4. What a coincidence. Ice Storm is free from the Arctic list, making a 20-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder of ice that forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures inside, dealing 4d6 cold damage and 2d8 bludgeoning damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed, so now your ice can actually deal damage. Grasping Vine creates a vine that can yoink people as a bonus action on your turn, forcing a dexterity saving throw on that creature and pulling them 20 feet closer to the vine if they fail. I see no reason that you can't voluntarily fail the saving throw to make the vine yoink yourself. That sounds bad. Stone Shape lets you shape stone in a 5-foot cube, maybe making an opening with some sort of bomb. I'll be honest, I wanted the Shatter spell, but it's not on the Druid list. This kind of works though. Control Water lets you control water in a 100-foot cube, making it rise, part, or whirlpool. It's only useful next to water, but so is the Water Spout ability. 8th level druids get another ability score improvement. Let's bump your dexterity up for now for better AC and better martial arts. 9th level druids can learn 5th level spells. Cone of Cold is free from the Arctic list, forcing a constitution saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot cone, dealing 8d8 cold damage to those that fail. I didn't mean to get so many cold spells, I just needed slow for Veil of Mist. For your spell of choice, Control Winds lets you control winds in a 100-foot cube. You can make an updraft for bigger jumps, a downdraft for worse jumps, or make gusts. I don't think this one is particularly good. Wall of Stone makes 10 by 10-foot panels of stone that you can shape as you need to rejuvenate bridges, or you could make a big wall. I'm here for rejuvenation. We'll finish things off with more monk levels. 4th level monks get slow fall, letting you reduce falling damage by 5 times your monk level as a reaction. I would normally talk about just using a grasping vine to stop you from falling, or some wind to cushion you, but there's no fall damage in Okami. I guess Amaterasu just has really strong knees. You also get an ability score improvement to cap off your dexterity modifier, so you can have 24 AC with Agile Parry and Shield of Faith. Monk multi-classes, so gosh dang good, folks. 5th level monks get an extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks instead of 1 with your action, or up to 4 with a flurry of blows. The unarmed attacks also deal more damage since your monk die is a d6 now. You also get Stunning Strike, letting you force a Constitution saving throw on a creature you hit with a melee weapon attack by spending a key point. Failing that, they're stunned until the end of your next turn. That'll give you advantage on all of your attacks, so you're more likely to crit with a spiritual weapon Power Slash. 6th level Kensei monks get magical Kensei weapons and key empowered strikes to make all of your attacks magical in terms of overcoming resistances, as long as you're making unarmed attacks or Kensei weapon attacks, which you should. You can also make a deft strike, adding an extra monk die to the damage of 1 attack per round by spending a key point. Wait until you crit and then double up that die. Pro tip. Our capstone is the 7th level of monk for evasion, letting you take half damage on a failed dexterity save and no damage on a successful one for a dodge that's really uncanny. That's a different ability. You also get stillness of mind, letting you remove the effects of charming or frightening as an action, so no demons are gonna scare you away. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you're very hard to hit. With 20 base AC, you can turn up to 24, and patient defense to give creatures disadvantage on attacks against you. You can also pump out the damage using cantrips or combos with your action, followed by a 6th level spiritual weapon, dealing 3d8 plus 5 force damage as a bonus action with no concentration, so you can concentrate on anything else. Finally, you're loaded with utility spells, letting you get creative and do some funky stuff. For weaknesses, you don't have a ton of HP, somewhere around 120 depending on how you rolled, so if people find a way in, that could be an issue. You're also lacking intelligence, so puzzle solving could be a bit tricky. Finally, being a dog who can't talk to people, not great. Probably just talk in the game. Don't be a wolf, be a person with the abilities of this wolf. Oh, I forgot, one of the abilities of this wolf is calligraphy, the power of the gods. Using calligraphy makes your character an unkillable juggernaut of death, destruction, and animal magnetism. Use the power of penmanship to destroy the forces of evil. Just make sure to play the character somewhat seriously. It can be a bit rough hearing the same joke 400 times. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Join the Patreon for this character sheet and 400 more, and sub to Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.